got a shirt? Can you put your hand up if you got a shirt? You got one? You got that shirt? Those shirts aren't free. I'll be collecting $10 from each one that one. I'm kidding, they're yours. JK. Well, my name's Eric Rivera, like Nancy said, and today I'll be talking to you a little bit about myself, starting my own business, and key points on how to be successful in life. You'll be successful when you think different than the average person. When you're able to have the mindset to think, I am success. I will be successful because I am success. I'm not success because I failed. I am success because I wasn't afraid to fail. I will be successful because I am success. I'm not success because I failed multiple times. I am success because I was willing to fail multiple times. Because I was willing. Because when you fail, you have to get back up, right? You have to try again when you fall. And it's the same mindset you should have. And yes, trying does imply failure. But trying also implies that you're willing to fail. And you must be willing to fail to succeed in life. You must be willing to fail to succeed. Because trying also implies that you're willing to take a risk. And that's what being an entrepreneur is, right? Taking a risk. Taking a risk on your belief in your business, your product, your service, your idea. You take that risk of failure to succeed. Thomas Edison said, the almost most certain way to succeed is to try this one more time. So if I fail 1,000 times, but I succeed on the 1,001st try, I succeeded because I tried this one more time, right? The almost certain way to succeed is to try this one more time. So there are 3 keys to follow to being successful in life. And the first one is simple. It's believe in yourself. The most powerful tool we possess ourselves is our mind. Invest in your mind, invest in yourself. Number 2 is think positive in every aspect of life and always think success. Think positive in the way you walk, the way you talk, the way you carry yourself, your attitude, and the people you surround yourself with. Think positive, think success, and you'll get positive results. But number 3 is the most important, because 1 and 2 are great, but along the way, you'll have goals, you'll have a vision of where you want to be in life, what you want to do. And none of that materializes without number 3, and that is hard work. Work harder than anybody imaginable and understand that it takes hard work to get to where you want to be in life. If I'm willing to work harder than you, then I'll possibly accomplish my goal first. For instance, say you have an invention, an idea, and there's someone else that has the exact same invention or idea as you. But you know nothing about each other, you don't know that you guys have the same idea. For you to accomplish your goal, it'll take you 4 hours a day for a year, work 4 hours a day for a year to accomplish or for your invention to materialize. But there's another person that's willing to work harder. They're willing to work 8 hours a day for that invention to materialize. So it takes you 4 hours a day for it to come true in a year. But if I work 8 hours a day on that same idea, that same invention, I'll complete it in 6 months. Work harder than anybody imaginable and understand that it takes that hard work to get to where you want to be in life. And if you put all these things together, there's not one thing that can keep you from success. So a little bit about myself and my story, and I guess being where I am today and being an entrepreneur. I grew up with an entrepreneurial father, and I guess that same mindset carried over to myself. And to give you a better idea of how I always had an entrepreneurial mindset without realizing I was thinking as an entrepreneur, but I was doing all these entrepreneurial things. And I remember growing up, this is one of the stories that sticks out to me in my head and getting to where I started being an entrepreneur. I remember in the 4th grade, there was this girl in my class that I had a crush on. Girl I had a crush on. I liked this girl in 4th grade. And I remember my parents used to cut me and my brother's hair. We didn't really go to a barber shop. My parents were not qualified to be barbers. They never went to barber school. They never cut hair in their life, I think. It was obvious when you looked at our hair. But they would cut our hair. And I remember this particular morning, my dad was cutting my hair before school, and he was cutting the top of my hair, and I remember the clip fell off. And it's obvious what happened next. He cut a bald spot in the front of my hair, and I remember thinking, I'm not going to school. I was crying, and I was a 4th grader, so I didn't want to go to school. And I remember I had to get my hair cut off, and I went to school late that day after they made me. And I remember walking into class, and no one wants to walk into class late, right? Everyone's staring at you. And I walk into class, and everybody's laughing. But the only person I noticed laugh was the girl I had a crush on, right? She's laughing at me. And it was horrible. I went to my desk, I put my head down, and I probably cried the rest of the day. But it was later, going into 8th grade, or going into my freshman year from 8th grade, where I learned how to cut my own hair. I would start cutting my own hair, and I'd get really good at it. I'd eventually start practicing on my brother's hair. He didn't know I'd practice on, but I was practicing on him. And I would get good at cutting hair. I would start cutting people's hair at school, my friends, start cutting family, and eventually I would start charging $2.25 my freshman year in high school. And by the time I got to my junior year, I was charging the exact same amount the barbershops would charge. And I had people going to my mom's garage, and everyone hang out, and I cut their hair. But I always went and followed the concept of get the things you need and not the things you want, and eventually you'll be able to get the things you want in life. So I saved all this money, and by the time I get to my senior year in high school, I would start investing in something else. Nothing great, but my mom was going to Costco, and I remember going to Costco and seeing the candy with 30 candies in it. So I would sell these for $1 each, and if I bought it for about $12 after taxes, I was able to turn a profit of about $15, $18. So I'd save all this money also. And by the time I graduate high school and I turn 18, I would have over $10,000 saved up. And 13 or 14,000 to be exact. And by the time I get to college, I would invest in something else. I would buy DJ equipment, and I'd start DJing weddings, quinceañeras, friends, parties, and all these different things. But the most important part of this story is when I would start working with my father. He had his own educational service company, and he was in the schools. I worked in the schools for about 3 years with my father, and I would gain as much knowledge as I can from him and all the people I would encounter. And about 3 years after working with them, I would come up with an idea that I thought was beneficial to kids. And it was essential to their learning today, but also their future. And I would come up with a goal-setting program. And I would eventually, knowing that if I worked hard, had enough ambition and determination to get this started, that it could make an impact. So I would start reaching our goals, which is an educational service company to teach students a step-by-step process of goal setting, built around the SMART goal system. Now there's 2 phases of reaching our goals. There is the goal setting, the Reaching Our Goals program, and the goals event assembly. Now before I go into any of the details of reaching our goals, I want to involve you in a statistic that I came across when I was doing research and getting all this together to start this, because it'll give you a better visual on what our mission is, and also what was important to me to raise the statistic on this. So if everyone could please stand up, I'd like to do this statistic so everyone can get a good idea of it. And you get to stretch a little. I see everybody stretching. So let's just say there's 1,000 people in here, for example. But 80% of people will not set a goal and write that goal down. That means 20% of people will actually have a goal, write that goal down, and look to accomplish that goal. So that already widens the gap, 80-20. So thank you all for sitting up. Let's sit down 80%. So let's just sit everybody down but this middle group to make it easy. So just look around. 20% of people actually have a goal, write that goal down, and look to accomplish it. Now this group of 20% of people, roughly 30% of them will actually achieve the goal they set out for themselves. So that means of this group, only 30% of them will, or roughly. And for whatever reason, the other 70% will not. So let's sit 70% down. Let's just sit like 4 rows in the back. So if we have 1,000 people here, we're left with about 60. And these people actually accomplish the goal they set out for themselves. So if you look at this, you guys can sit down, thank you. If you look at this, it shows the importance of not only people having a goal and writing that goal down, but knowing the process it takes to achieve those goals. So the idea was to start with our kids, start with youth, because they are our future, right? And to start with kids, because this percentage, this statistic is not students, it's the upper age group. So if students can learn the process of goal setting and know what it takes to accomplish their goals, and when they know what they want to do and how to get there in life, when they get to this percentage and they are part of this statistic,